And then coming underneath all of that is Foster. There's not anyone within 10 yards of him. So
Okay.
they're setting something up. Clearly, Olsen has that in his back pocket. They didn't need to show it, but he's clearly showing it because he's going to try to set something up in the next couple of weeks. So when I'm watching the game next week or against the Giants and I see that formation, I'm really curious to see what they're going to run out of it.
Yeah, and of course, somebody needs to get Greg Olsen that Head and Shoulders commercial because that dude has the best hair in the NFL, as far as that goes. So Desmond Trufant, DJ Fluker coming in for depth. It could mean longer stints on the on the injured list for Mullen. Who knows? I mean, Fluker, you need some better in depth here. I guess Colton Miller has a pec injury. Doesn't look like I haven't heard anything like it's going to be something that's going to be something that's going to keep him out. He was limited in practice today. That's not. It's not odd to be limited on a Wednesday. We'll see what it's like at the end of the week. I think the Raiders just want to get these guys in. They tried a bunch of guys out, DJ Hayden, people like that. Thoughts about Trufant and Fluker coming in? I think it's kind of good, solid depth here. And I think Faison played, pretty well in this defense as well.
Yeah, Faison was impactful on some plays. Now going back on the L-22, there were several plays where he missed his assignment or gave up a catch or was in the wrong spot. But he made tackles on the end of the line of scrimmage when he needed to be the force player. He made the interception. He had some pass breakups. So there was some impact. I don't think he was lights out, as you would think watching the broadcast when you watch the All-22. So I think that's another reason why they went after Trufant. To me, I think I don't think Bradley wants to play Amik Robertson as much as he has to because, obviously he was a liability in run defense. And then the bigger body guys give him trouble. The interesting thing is Trufant played in the cover 3 system with Dan Quinn in Atlanta for a long time. So he could probably come in and get up to speed quickly. He was in camp this year. He's played some games with New Orleans. So he's not coming in and needing to get in shape or anything. Fluker is the interesting one to me because what this says to me, and I'm trying to read between the lines, and a lot of people think he's going to come in and play right tackle in the next week or two and replace Parker. I don't see that. To me, this is if something happens to Colton Miller and we have to move Parker to left tackle, we don't have anyone on the roster we're comfortable with to play on that right side. To me, this is more about tackle depth and protecting themselves in case of an injury against Miller than it is he's going to take Parker's spot. And then obviously he can kick inside and play guard if you need him to. Yeah. So adding Fluker to the practice squad, and I believe he's going to be on the 53-man here probably after the bye, really helps you out if you have an injury at left tackle, an injury at left guard, an injury, God forbid something happens at right guard or right tackle. So he can help you out in having his versatility, allows you to move Parker if you need to, if something does happen to Miller. And then it's just a veteran to have in there that can play in these power schemes if they want to run the ball. And then if Parker has a couple bad games, then you can plug him in at right tackle. But I think they're looking down the line more over the course of 17 weeks. Like if something happened to Colton Miller, how are we going to adjust this line? They didn't have the answer on the roster. Now I think they do.
Yeah, makes sense. It makes a whole lot of sense as far as that goes. Let's see here. Things before we defense. Obviously the pass rush was like it was interesting in this game because they were ready to play. They were ready to play from Jump Street because I'm watching this game and literally there were times where the Broncos kept in almost max protect basically, and they were still getting pressure. And I was telling people too, like the guys who like Bradley play hard for Bradley. They really do. I mean, with Square comes in and boom, half a sack already off the bat, and they all love playing for him. I think one thing I did catch was there was a play where Ruggs made a big catch. I think it was the one where it kind of set up the Jacobs touchdown, and then you saw a quick Bradley made sure he ran over to Henry and gave him dap. I think that like those little things like that, like those guys are together in a lot of ways. And I think when you saw kind of that when when Gus Bradley was talking to Richie Incognito when he was mic'd up, he's a genuine like, hey, like I'm interested in your life kind of coach, and I think people really gravitate towards that.
Yeah, clearly the defensive line can beat that. The Raiders blitzed. I think I saw like 3 or 4 dropbacks. They didn't blitz very much at all, and
Didn't
they were
have to.
on Teddy Britt. They hit him 18 times,
Yeah.
um, or 18 hurries and 13 hits, something like that. And it was everybody: Square, Thomas. I think I saw Farrell hit him once.
Great,
Crosby,
great play by Solomon
Yannick.
Thomas on that fumble. Like that was a great play.
Yeah, and then you saw both safeties get an interception. You saw Faison get an interception. You saw Hobbs with the near interception. I don't know how they overturned that. They called it an interception on the field. I understand if they would have called it a completion on the field and kept it. I thought it was interesting that they called that Hobbs interception on the field and then overturned it because the receiver was going to the ground and he clearly didn't maintain possession through the ground. Now, he may have been down, but they were wrestling for the ball. And I thought the rule was if they were going to the ground, he's got to maintain it through the ground, through contact. But I think, Corey Littleton is playing well. I know Raider fans hate him. But when I turn on the film, he shows up.
I don't know why. I don't know why. Y'all guys got to stop hating on Corey Littleton. Yeah. He's playing really good football.
And then Denzel Perryman, like every week, I can feel him through my screen when I'm doing the all 22. Like I just want to put like every tackle he makes out, and it's like they're all good. Like, so it's tough. I want to give him more love on the all 22 breakdown, but when he arrives, guys go down. It's almost like a boxer with heavy hands. Like he hits a guy, they're down, and it doesn't matter how big they are. It doesn't matter if they're an O-lineman pulling through a hole. He's physical, and watching him and Abram fly around on that second level of defense, it's fun. It's fun. Let's just hope Denzel Perryman can stay healthy for 17 games. But
fumble recovery by Perryman as well. So in that ball game, he just you don't go anywhere. I love my favorite thing about what Abram is when people try to run wide on the Raiders. And he just blows that thing up. I mean, he's been fantastic as far as that goes. Defensively, you want to hear? This is from DMark NFL. He had a post about the Raider defense. This is the Raiders defense versus passes 20 yards or more. Quarterbacks are 6 for 33, 18% completion, 217 yards, 6.5 yards per carry, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and a quarterback rating of 29.2.
They're not getting beat deep.
And that is like I'm giving you the flats. If you don't want the flats, I'm giving you the short stuff. If you want to be patient and take it, you can take it. If you don't want to take it, you can force it deep. I'm gonna have my guys back. He did get beat once, where and people always say sometimes with quarterbacks, why do they kind of underthrow a receiver when they're wide open? Courtland Sutton clearly beat Hayward, and I was just like, the reason why because the worst thing you can do in that situation is overthrow the wide receiver. He overthrew Courtland Sutton, but then the next time they try to go down the field, it's just Hayward does not panic. He's losing like 6 inches, but you're able to just at top of the jump just knock the ball away. PBU, that's it as far as that goes. But the defense played very well as far as that goes. Anything else on the defensive unit before we go to special teams?
No, and in special teams, I almost tweeted this out. No one really likes special teams tweets, so I didn't. Dallin Levitt had 3 tackles on kickoffs when they were kicking it short. He really flashed.
He excelled in that,
on the kick coverage. So the punt coverage was good. They didn't really need it. AJ Cole was blasting it 60, 70 yards. But I thought overall, I think the coverage units are playing well on kickoff and punt. Yeah, I'd like to see the Raiders break a return here and get a little bit better field position or a punt. They're not really blocking the gunners very well. So Renfro's not getting much of a chance. But
James from New Orleans, like he's not in our. He had a question about are we starting to see some issues with Carlson? Are we getting worried about Carlson here a little bit with some of these misses?
Yeah, I mean, it's not automatic anymore. He's missed an extra point. He's missed a 43 yarder in Denver is a chip shot, and
Yeah.
then and obviously he missed a 52 yarder a couple of weeks ago. Um, I think that was the Chargers game, but yeah, I mean, at some point he's got to start making these kicks because the Raiders, until they increase that red zone touchdown percentage, they're going to be kicking a lot of field goals, and they play close games for the most part this week,
Yeah.
notwithstanding.
Mhm.
So yeah, he's going to have to start making some of these kicks.
Yeah, no question about it. If Leatherwood has to be a guard, is that does that mean he failed? The Raiders failed if he's not a tackle. Um, to me, it's like you want to get really good starting football players from the first round. And guards, tackles are usually going to go way ahead of guards. If he's a really good guard and the Raiders have to go out and get a tackle, that's fine. For me, I don't think this season is an indictment and totally ends his career at tackle. But right now, if they kick him inside and it's working and he's getting better, he's getting reps and he's becoming that bulldozer that we all thought he wanted, that we want him to be in the run game. I think it's fine for right now. I mean, we're trying to make the playoffs. We're not trying to coddle somebody and put him somewhere because of what the draft status is, Ryan.
I would agree. Is it a fail long term if he's a guard? I guess it depends on what level he attains as a guard. If
Yeah.
he's an above average to plus guard and makes a couple of Pro Bowls, no, it's not a fail. If he's a fringe type guard where you're always looking to upgrade and he's playing just below average, then yeah, I think it is. At this point, it's too early to say. I'd say through what is it, 2 weeks with him playing guard, he's showing some promise in there.
Yeah.
If
No
they do
question.
need to go out and get a right tackle next year and he stays a guard, and like I said, it becomes, he makes a Pro Bowl or two in his career, then no, it's not a fail. You got a starting
Yeah.
football player in the first round. A lot of it will depend too on what happens with Christian Darrisaw and the other linemen that were taken after him.
Yeah.
What becomes of Tevin Jenkins? What becomes of Christian Darrisaw? If those guys become Pro Bowl tackles, then yeah, we can have that conversation. But at the end of the day, you're right. It's about stacking good football players on the roster and winning football games. It's not about egos. It's not about, is this guy has to be an all-world right tackle or else it was a fail. That's not how
No,
the draft works.
no, it's not.
50% of these first rounders aren't going to be starters 5 years from now on the teams they're on. And most of these guys they're not going to get a second contract. I'd say, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but probably 40% of these first rounders won't get second contracts 4 years down the line with their team. So it's way too early to put bus label on a guy after
Yeah,
6 games.
I agree. No
And who
question
knows?
about it.
Maybe he ends up at left tackle. If there's an injury to Colton Miller and the Raiders decide to put him out at left tackle and he turns into a formidable player there, it's not a fail. It's way too
Yeah.
early.
Way too early for that. They play the Eagles this week. In Allegiant Stadium, where it's always been interesting for some reason for this team. So, I said that going into this year, I really wanted to see. I count SoFi as a home game, so they've already lost 2 home games already. They lost the Bear game. They lost this game. Just get me. We're both on that same boat. Just get me to 6-2. Get me to that game against the Chiefs, winning these next 2 games. But starting with the Eagles, what are your thoughts about going against Jalen Hurts and company?
Well, I've mixed emotions on this game because I watched the Eagles play 2 weeks ago. I don't remember who they played, but they didn't run the ball at all. Maybe it was Tampa, but they ran the ball like twice. And then you saw them start to get it going in the fourth quarter and kind of make a little comeback. I looked at the stats before we got on here. Jalen Hurts has run the ball 53 times in 6 games. So he's basically running the ball 9 times a game. And some of those aren't designed. So this is going to be a tough one where the Raiders, they're going to have to get there with the front four, but those guys are going to have pass rush discipline and stay in their lanes. Because if he breaks contain, Jalen Hurts can hurt them on the ground. And we've seen running quarterbacks do this already. With Jacoby Brissett did it to him. Lamar Jackson ran for 86 yards against them. So they're going to have to keep him in the pocket. I'd expect the pass rush not to be quite as fierce as it was with Teddy Bridgewater. Try to make him throw over guys because he's a smaller guy. Make him throw the ball into tight windows. Make him read coverages. So I'm not going to be upset if the pass rush doesn't get after him and get 4 or 5 sacks here, as long as they don't let him get outside the pocket and create plays. They're really young out wide. Devontae Smith, Jalen Reagor, Watkins. They have guys that can run. But they're inexperienced. They just traded Zach Ertz, but they do have Dallas Goedert. The offensive line is kind of middle of the pack, I would say, but they've been without Lane Johnson for a few weeks, who appears to be on target to play this week at right tackle. So it's going to be nice to see Crosby go up against an all-pro right tackle, but there are spots on the line. So I think the defense, if they just don't get beat over the top and they don't allow Hurts to run around and break off 20, 30-yard runs, can keep this team under 20 points. And then the concern for me when you flip it over with the offense is they got to block Fletcher Cox and Hargrove, the big interior defensive tackles, 6 sacks already. Those guys are nasty on the inside. So they have 2 guys on the interior defensive line that are going to attack that interior 3 of the Raiders, which we know is a problem on the offensive line. So how are the Raiders going to scheme this up? Is it going to be short game? Are they going to try to take shots down the field? They do have some corners that can cover in Darius Slay, Steve Nelson, but their linebackers are suspects. So I expect the middle of the field, I think you're going to see a lot of Renfro, a lot of Drake, a lot of Waller. This might not be the week where you see Edwards or Ruggs blaring down the field for big gains, because I think they're going to try to keep it short underneath and work the middle of the field. That intermediate zone is going to be where I think the Raiders are going to target.
Yeah, Hargrave is definitely getting to the quarterback because he got 6 sacks. They also this could be another week where the Raiders did score. The Raiders last week scored on the first drive. No team in the NFL has given up more points on the first drive of the game than the Eagles. So if they can just continue to do that, my biggest concern is the extra play down the field. Like, as far as, yes, the running, he's gonna break some runs, but when he breaks the runs and he's coming to that, pressing that line of scrimmage and then throws over the top to Devontae Smith or catches Reagor in a scramble situation where those guys are in the scramble drill and they make plays down the field. That's what I'm worried about, those kind of plays as far as that goes, because they do have young team. Raiders should be able to be able to win this game, but I do know they're dangerous. They hang around. They play hard for this coach. They play hard. They respect their quarterback, and they want to win for him. So very similar to a couple previous opponents in Miami, also with the Bears. So you got to make sure you handle business. I think off to a good start would be the best way of doing it. Hopefully they continue to do that as well. They are and keep them within their point range. They only average, like I said, they average 22 points a game. Keep them in that. Don't make this a big a back and forth 30 point game for the Eagles as far as that goes.
The Eagles don't run the ball either. Like I said,
never do.
And I know the Tampa game they didn't run it much. I think the week before they ran the ball 2 times to the running back the whole game. So which offense is going to come out? Are they going to try to establish Miles Sanders against the Raiders? Because I think if they expect Jalen Hurts to drop back 40, 45, 50 times against this Raiders defensive line, Jalen Hurts might not make it through the game. We'll see what they do.
I'll take that. I'll take that. I'll take 2 of those on Sunday. Yeah. Real quick. Do you feel the offense? Do you feel like? Let's see. What do you think? I'll get to the next one. Andre James. Do you feel like Andre James is getting better, and you're surprised that Morrissey got picked up by the Texans?
I'll start with the Morrissey question first. Yeah. I am surprised because I thought the Raiders liked him. I thought he played fairly well in the preseason. More of a technician than a guy that's going to win with pure strength. So I'm surprised they kind of let him go. Clearly they think Nick Martin's better, or else they would have released Nick Martin and promoted him. Mm-hmm. Is Andre James getting better? I don't know. Like I said, there's still 2 or 3 plays a game where I'm scratching my head where he doesn't block anyone. He completely whiffs. He gets thrown aside.
Fumble snap last week as well. Again, I'm not sure if that was him or Carr.
Yeah. He is getting to the second level with a little bit more consistency now than he was, but teams are still putting a zero technique right on top of him, and he's not having much success at all moving those guys. His pass protection is fine. The snapping, other than the Miami game, has been fine. Is he the long-term answer at center? If I gun to my head right now, I'd say no. But they're getting by. And I think having those two big guys next to him on the inside with Leatherwood and Simpson are helping him. And I think if Incognito comes back for the Giants game, it should help him even more. But the running game, they're going to have to start, like I said, they're pulling guys, they're down blocking. The touchdown, you could see, like, he's not blocking the nose tackle. It's Leatherwood that's down blocking, and they're pulling Miller. They're pulling the backside guard and Simpson. So they're not asking him to move those guys as much in a power scheme as they would in a zone scheme. Maybe that's a reason why they've gone back to more of that. So we'll see. I'm not ready to say yes or no on James, but I'd lean no.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say that I don't. It's about trust. I don't know if I trust Andre James right now. As far as that goes. Let's see. I got another one from Sherry. We like the pick of Malcolm Kuntz. Do you feel like with the way the defensive line is played, will he ever get any time this year? This could just be a sabbatical for him, like a year. I mean, like just a red shirt year, I should say, for him. You know, the Raiders like him. They kind of raved about that pick. I would just say that this may not be the year for him. Maybe down the road, you'll see more Malcolm Kuntz right now. But I think some of the rookies are playing. A lot of rookies are playing well. Hobbs is doing great things. We're seeing more Morrig every week. We get a little bit more of that as well. What are your thoughts about Malcolm Kuntz?
Barring an injury to one of their defensive ends, he's going to have a hard time getting on the field. I think that they're fine running out. Ngakoue, Crosby, Nassib, and Farrell is the four guys on game day. You can't dress everyone. You can only dress 46. So unless Ngakoue goes down or, Nassib, he may be up for a week. Maybe a guy gets nicked for a week and he's inactive and they bring him up. But, barring a significant injury, he's not going to play much this year.
No, I don't think so either. Let's go. Get one more. You feel like Carr is better in this offense than in Gruden's offense? I mean, it's only one game, so I mean, I'm not sure if I gotta see it. Let me see an entire season about that. And then he also said, "What are you feeling about what Josh Jacobs said on Twitter, or to Paul Gutierrez on Twitter that he posted today?" You guys get a chance to see that?
I did. I thought it was an interesting quote. He basically said there was no one, cussing at us on the sidelines. Everyone was calm. There was no one getting upset with the referees, and the team kind of just, after a bad play, kind of said, "Okay, next play, we're moving on." Where they weren't harping on it as much. It was interesting because Josh Jacobs went to bat for Gruden after the resignation, and so that point, I thought this is, he's clearly making a statement here that, hey, it was a better game day situation. There was more calmness. Guys weren't panicking as much. And you saw that on the field too, the way the team played. So hopefully, if that I could definitely, there is some credence to what he said. I do believe that, he believes what he said. And he's making a statement about this different environment the players are in now on the sideline and even in practice. You heard him talk about how physical they were in practice and they got after it today. I think that's another indication where maybe they didn't think that they were doing that enough before. And on your question about Carr in this offense, we'll see. Like I said, Greg Olson hasn't called plays in 4 or 5 years. Coordinators didn't have tape on him. I talked about earlier in this podcast some of the different wrinkles I saw. He's going to have to keep doing that because teams now have film on what the Raiders did to Denver. So Philadelphia is going to prepare for some of that stuff. He's going to have to change up the route combinations. Change up the points where he has these guys. I would say I do like the more play action. I do like, and this is something I've always wanted. You saw Carr run a couple of bootlegs, which he never did under Gruden. They moved the launch point. They got him outside the pocket a couple times. No, he didn't hit any big plays when they did that, but it's nice to see they're willing to do that. And they did bring that Waller out in the flat on one of those bootlegs and hit him for like a 3 or 4 yard route. It didn't hit big, but just it's things that the other teams have to think about. And those are plays that if Mariota has to come in, that he can run. And we didn't see the Mariota package. So hopefully, we see that if it need be, 3rd and short, red zone this week.
That's cool. Keep those coming. I just got a I got an update from from the company we use to put out the podcast, and you guys are listening, and I appreciate all the downloads. We really do appreciate it as far as that goes. Picks now. I'm not sure if you have your picks ready yet. I got some picks here as far as that goes. I got 3 games, I believe. So 3 games that I'm going to roll with this week. I think one is I'm going to ride with right now it's 9.5. I'm going to roll with the Packers here, even though on the road. I just think they're playing great. I think they're playing really good football. They'll be good. I think they're going to smash. I think they're going to smash Washington. I think Washington's going to just end up having a who the hell knows what they're going to do as far as what they're going to do there. I'm not feeling that one as well. I think they're going to end up winning that game. By a whole lot. Let's see, the Panthers. I think the Panthers bounce back this week and beat the Giants. So that one's looking at like the 2.5 for that game. And then the last one that I had, let's see here. I'm gonna get away from the Raiders. I'm gonna go with the Colts here. The Colts to beat the Niners coming up this week on Sunday Night Football.
Interesting. I didn't pick any of those 3 games, but I'm kind of with you on them. I'm going to go to the Raiders. That's the first thing that jumps out. I think they're a better team than the Eagles, and they're at home, and they have the bye coming up. I think Bisaccia is going to have them ready. Laying a field goal is basically as long as it's almost a pick 'em if they just win. I'll lay the 3. I'll take the Raiders at home here. I'm going to surprise you this one. I'm taking the Houston Texans. I don't care who they're playing. It's the National Football League. 18.5 points.
It's too much.
It doesn't matter. Give me the 18.5 points as long as they don't lose by 3 touchdowns. I feel like I'm betting on like SMU at an SEC school here with that kind of point spread. Exactly. In the other game, I'm going to take Miami as a home dog, 2.5 against Atlanta. I don't think Atlanta's any good. I don't think Miami's any good, but Atlanta's definitely not better than Miami. So coming off that loss against Jacksonville overseas in London, I think there's some overreaction here to that loss that's playing into this line. And I'm going to take the home dog in Miami. I think they rebound this week.
Okay, cool. Cool. So it's good. And boom, almost on the minute, an hour, almost on the minute. We knocked it out for you. So listen, keep your downloads coming. Keep liking everything and all that stuff like that. If you have some feedback for us, give us that as well. No problem with that. We'll see you next time here on the Put on Raiders podcast. Ryan, you have a good night, brother.
You too. Have a good night.